What should we do in this one? Let's see here. Wait and see what happens, or shoot the fetcher say with my sidearm. Let's see here. Let's see. I was told to shoot it. I'm gonna wait to see what. This might be bad. A second later, the creature covers itself in a burst of rose-colored sparks. It's able to jump. It's about to jump away. You take the weapon from the table and pull the trigger, releasing a bolt of energy that quickly disperses on the surface of the fetcher say. According to Dusk's words, it should be enough to send a message through the impenetrable armor of the spacecraft, but nothing seems to happen after the shot. Second after second passes relentlessly, with no reaction whatsoever from the fetcher say or its surroundings. As the unknown creature fades behind a violet cloud and jumps away, you can't help wonder what to do. I'm going to shoot it a second time. Or keep waiting or jump. No, jump is a bad idea. You got to stay on the ship. Shoot it a second time. You press the trigger once more, and the projectile again dissolves in the shield protecting the back of the fetcher say. For a few seconds still, nothing seems to happen. But then slowly, white noise starts coming from the communicator. Watching the spacecraft, you finally see the Remnant leaping out of the hatch, carrying a dozen faintly glowing cylindrical tubes under their arms. A flashing warning appears on the console. The energy readings of the outer spacecraft are rising quickly. Right as you try to warn the rest of the group, the Kasse comes back to life, and for an instant you see all of its systems returning online at once, the engines, the steering, and even the Ravagers. Amidst the chaos, you count that all 5 of them made it out of the hatch, still carrying some of the cylinders with them. They were able to leave before the spacecraft's thrusters started firing, and they seem to remain relatively unharmed by the event. The Kasse moves further and further away. One at a time, they move back into the airlock, leaving their cargo attached to one of the instruments they carried with them. As you close the door and pressurize the compartment, Dusk approaches you about the mission. Thank you for that, Aaron. We had to cut short the exploration when we saw your message, before we had a chance to retrieve the specific data we were looking for. As a compromise, we decided to take some memory banks, these cylinders, with us so we could search through the data later. It was dangerous, but it worked. That said, I suggest returning to the outpost as soon as possible. The Kasse we have boarded may start acting erratically after this, or it may even attack us. We have removed part of its brain after all. Hopefully, this mission will not backfire against us. You sit back in the cockpit, starting the engines once again. Okay. I wonder if any of those things would have ended up at this chain. We'll see. Oh, there it goes. See ya. Bye-bye. Wow, a lot of text here. Here we go. Back down on the surface, you complete the post-landing checklist while keeping an eye on the movements of the Kasse. The research station has been a safe place to retreat during past expeditions, but it seems doubtful that it could last against a prolonged attack from one of the Fetracy. When the scientists finish unloading their cargo, Dusk calls you with a communicator. Now that the immediate danger is over, a hint of frustration creeps into his voice. The cells we have taken from the Fetri are only a few out of the multiple hundreds. We did our best to choose those that were recorded at times when those beings were present, but we will still need some luck to get the results we wanted. Our calculators have been crunching the numbers for hours now, ever since we cracked open the first canister. By the time you have reached the lab, we should have the analysis ready. You close the hatch behind you to join the rest of the crew. As the asteroid continues its nearly imperceptible spin, Patir emerges from behind the giant dome, allowing its rays to pass through. You take the last steps toward the outpost, with the sunshade lowered, and walk into the lab once more. The module was never particularly inviting, but over the last few weeks, a thin layer of dust coming from outside the asteroid has covered the floor, with just the last surfaces needed for the research kept clean. Tiredness plagues the faces of the scientists. They must not have slept much in the past days to keep up with the amount of incoming data, and neither of you. As you try to remember the last time you stepped outside without a suit, at least a month, most likely your stream of thoughts is interrupted by the arrival of Dusk, carrying in his hands a ream of papers. All right, here we go. The information in the memory containers is indeed from when one of those beings was in the system, and the data recorded was far more comprehensive than our own scans. However, the memory containers we extracted only contain records from the middle of the phenomenon, without showing how it begun or ended. Additionally, understanding their contents is going to take longer than we hoped for. We knew that the exact relationship between the being and the fetcher state would be beyond our knowledge, but we cannot even make preliminary guesses as to how they are able to communicate. We have enough consumables to last for many weeks still. We started rationing as soon as we arrived in this sector, and we were prepared to reduce them further if necessary. Despite this, the time and manpower needed to crack this code would go far beyond what we could feasibly achieve. We have hit a roadblock that, for now, we cannot overcome. Oh boy. What are our options? Does this mean we need to repeat the mission? We are left with few alternatives. As I told you previously, the Chennai station is an interesting possibility and could have influenced Patir's erratic behavior. At the same time, exploring the asteroid around Lathia may put us closer to understanding the inner workings of the beings and how they interact with the Kase. It is quite dangerous, but visiting a space station is also an unknown, and maybe more direct approach is what we need to accomplish our objective. Neither mission... Oh, okay, I get this. Maybe we have to do all of these things. Neither mission prevails over the other one in a definite way, and our votes within the team are split evenly between the two. So if you... Dusk halts mid-phrase, looking behind you with an awestruck gaze. The sky has again turned black, and a few dim lines are... Oh... The sky again turned black, and a few dim lines are already starting to appear in the distance. The whole team jumps to the windows, watching as the light show begins. While stars and galaxies zoom in the night sky, two Remnant keep running around the lab, turning on various instruments. However, the rest of them remain with their faces stuck to the glass with you. The lights start converging toward a single point, forming a large but rapidly shrinking mass in the background. The stars begin to slow down before settling in their final positions. After all the time you have spent there, it isn't difficult to recognize that the sky has changed once again. The sky has changed again. Next to you, the rest of the team is already analyzing the data gathered. Dusk seems to be writing down something from a chronometer. Are we back in the Milky Way? How long was that? Where are we now? I'm going to do where are we now? I cannot yet... Oh, man. I cannot say yet. Dusk replies hurriedly. Quick, put on your EVA suit back on. We need to depart as soon as possible, all of us together. I do not know how much time we have. You hastily connect your helmet back to the life support and follow them out of the airlock, trying to keep up as best as you can. It takes only a few minutes to launch the Superior personal ship, the six of you standing in the cockpit with trepidation. We will take care of the necessary analysis while you bring us to orbit. Hopefully, we have been sent to the Milky Way and not to yet another unreachable galaxy. The cockpit has become quite chaotic. The instruments the team brought with them keep buzzing and beeping. After shutting down the main engines, someone taps on your shoulder to call your attention. Aaron, could you pitch the ship down a few degrees? Dusk asks with a calmer look during liftoff. You reply with a nod and move the stick forward slightly. There, do you see it? He continues, pointing at a spot in the sky with his hand. Between the mass of stars in front of you, a pattern leaps to the eye. Two sets of 3 stars right next to each other, forming a prism-like structure. We are back. So I'm assuming, okay, good, we are back. Well, that was, all right, let's go back to Aventine. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm going to lower this volume slightly because I don't think we need it this high. Very, very interesting. So I wonder if any of those mission branches would have done the same thing. I wonder if we will be able to investigate further. Let's see. Well, let's see what we've got going on here. A large crowd quickly gathers around your landing pad, eagerly awaiting your arrival. After all this time between the stars, setting foot on a planet with an actual atmosphere is incredibly refreshing. Ignoring the cold weather for a moment, you take the biggest breath you can make up for the past weeks of recycled air. Before you've even reached the end of the ramp, the people on the ground are already signing questions to you and the rest of the team about your journey. You do your best to reply, but in the overall mix of confusion and excitement, you aren't sure anyone understood what you just said. Between the chaos, you hear a familiar voice singing your name. A few meters on your left, you notice Chilia with his arms raised and a large grin greeting you back. Moving across the crowd, not without some difficulty, you follow him through a narrow door inside a cramped room right next to the pad. I prefer the spaceport when it's more hushed, he remarked with a sigh. But after the past week, some frenzy is understandable. We will have to make do with this warehouse for now. He invites you to take a seat. So, Aaron, would you tell me about your journey? By the time you're done, more than an hour must have passed. Chilia paces aimlessly around the room, reflecting on your recounting of the events. As silence falls, you notice that calm seems to have returned to the pad as well. So I should wait for him to speak? Do you know what happened? Do you know how we came back to this galaxy? What happened while we were gone? Let's see here. I'm going to allow him to speak. Let's see. If your description is accurate, it means Patir is not another mouth to a pocket universe, but instead a transporter to another galaxy. Our universe, for all we know. Wait, what? Oh, or universe. Okay. To a pocket universe, but instead a transport to another galaxy or universe, for all we know. In retrospect, there are enough reasons to doubt that first theory, but we are far too busy trying to save you to look into it seriously. Seeing your confused expression, he continues, Aaron, it was us who brought Patir back here. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's where Post Verita, here come. We knew Post Verita was involved with Patir's initial arrival. And together with the team there, we discovered that the energy burst that had been released when Slavita first appeared had no relation to the systems controlling its pocket universe. So its activation or deactivation would have no effect on Patir, and we started to look somewhere else. Our research up to this point had mostly focused on the pocket universe. Most of Post Verita is still obscure to us. As we evaluated our options, we determined that by the time we could understand the station systems enough to use them for our purposes, your crew would already have run out of supplies and perished. Instead, we attempted to replicate the energy burst using just our technology, augmented by the transmission systems of Slavita. The project took most of our workforce, as well as several weeks to complete, no thanks to a number of setbacks, almost making us start over from scratch. But with the full power on board of the onboard reactors and an array of calculators rivaling that of our largest outposts, its giant antenna came back to life and released a wave as strong as when Slavita appeared. 2 weeks later, Patir returned, and now you are here safe and sound. Finally, a tired dusk reaches the two of you in a storage room, sitting down after greeting Chilla and you. From a brief exchange between them, you infer that he has also been told of the circumstances around your return. That's interesting. So let's see here. What is going to happen to Patir now? Wait, what if we are not around? That's the question. What if we were not around Patir when it came back? The black hole would have departed without us, and we would still have been stuck in that sector, only this time without a laboratory to support us, nor most of our consumables. The people down here perhaps could have been able to send Patir back up there and pick us up, but by then we'd have run out of supplies long before and perished between the stars. We were lucky that things went the way they did, all things considered. Our research in the system was supposed to bring us back, and yet we were just chasing rainbows, endangering ourselves further every step we took. At this point in time, exploring Patir would be a gamble, and an extremely risky one at that. The next phase will have to be operated from a distance in order to fully understand the way the system works and how Slavita controls it. How much time that will take, I cannot say. Maybe weeks, or months, or even years. But then, and only then, will we go back there and start digging deeper. I understand. You want to return there? Of course you want to return there. I understand. The two of them accompany you to the Superior personal ship, sitting alone in the now quiet spaceport of Aventine. The cargo bay has been emptied of the vast array of instruments that had been lying in it for a while, and you guess the same has been done with the cockpit. As you walk once again up the stairway, the Remnant bid you farewell. We have transferred 1.57 million credits as a way to express our gratitude. Dusk signs with a smile. Of course, Their worth is incomparable with the value of what you have done for us. Without you, we would have never made it out alive. Goodbye for now, and may the embers aid in your pursuits. Well, that was a kind of a cool mission chain. Bravo to the folks that actually wrote that mission chain. Let's check the spaceport anyway. Job board. Bravo to the folks that made that mission chain. We got a little instance galaxy. Not sure if we will revisit that. I would just be very curious if you had a ship that didn't have a lot of fuel. What would you do? Because like I remember in the previous play that I had to restart it because I ran out of fuel and there was no way for me to actually proceed. So I wonder if you were using a ship that just did not have a lot of fuel, what you have done. Yeah, that's very interesting. So if you've actually done this mission chain, did you actually use a ship that did not have a lot of fuel reserves? And if you did, what did you do? Because I think you'd be stuck, but I don't know. Maybe it's like different for every. Maybe it calculates something. I know. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But I do know. I have to go to Arculus. Okay. I should get rid of some of these ships there. Let's get our fleet back. What do I have to do here? Oh, might as well do this. And then I'll go to Arculus. And then we can go see about doing some other stuff. There's that. Check the spaceport just in case. You never know what's going to happen here. All right, let's go claim all our ships back. And I think I actually stored most of the stuff. So we're going to have to like take care of that too. Let's see here. All of these, I think these are, yeah, I think this is all correct. Unpark these, okay, good. Now we have to go to the outfitter. And let's see here. Let's do the ones in storage. All right, we're going to just go to cargo. Cargo. I'm taking it all. Whoa, no, I didn't want to sell it. Wait. What did I sell? Cargo. I didn't want to sell. I want to cargo it. What did I just give up? Should be something for sale. I'm taking them all. Cargo. No, not in cargo. I want it in storage. Boom. I'll take this. I'll take this. I'll take this. I'm not going to take this. I'll leave that in storage. Leave this in storage. Leave that in storage. This I'll take. Void sprite parts I'm going to leave in storage. Anomalous mass. I'll just take 100 of those because why not? Yeah, we don't need that many void sprite parts. Now, let's see here. What happened here? Did I not? Just want to make sure. Anomalous shield restorer. Not sold here, not sold here. Cargo, cargo. Not that it matters. I don't even know why I need this. See that? I don't know. We gotta get these fusion torches. Anti-materiel gun. Okay. What do I got on my ship? I think we're good to go. Now we're gonna... I think that's it. I think we're all ready to go. I think we're gonna head into Syndicate space, see if we can find some more missions to actually complete.